Marcus and Elena know their housing cost, $2,350 a month. That is the number they planned around. But there is another number sitting under it. $650 for the first car, $430 for the second, $420 for insurance, then fuel, maintenance, registration, small fees that do not feel small when they arrive every month. Together, their transportation cost is $2,145, almost the size of the house. The second rent is not always a house. Sometimes it has 4 wheels. This is not a story about people loving cars too much. In many places, the car is not optional. It is how you get to work, how you drop off a child, how you buy groceries, how you stay employed. The question is not why people own cars. The question is why the cost of owning one now behaves like rent. The car payment is the part you can see. It arrives cleanly. Same date, same amount. Every month. By late 2025, the average new car payment was roughly $770 a month. Used cars were not an escape hatch. They averaged between $537 and $570. And for new car buyers, the extreme is becoming normal. More than 1 in 5 financed new car shoppers committed to a payment over $1,000 a month. Whew. That is not a repair. That is not gas. That is not a bad month. That is the starting line. Before the car moves, before the tank fills, before anything breaks. But the trap is everything attached to it. A car is not one bill. It is a stack. The loan payment is one layer, then insurance, fuel, maintenance, tires, registration, taxes, parking, tolls. And one cost that almost never appears on the monthly statement: depreciation. AAA's 2025 driving cost model put the annual cost of owning and operating a new vehicle at $11,577. That number includes the quiet costs people often do not feel as a single bill. The largest one is depreciation. More than $4,000 a year in lost value. The car does not just take money when you pay for it. It loses value while you are still paying for it. That is why the monthly payment can feel survivable, while the total system is not. Insurance is different from the payment. The payment is negotiated once. Insurance renews. Again and again. A household can buy the car under one insurance reality, then renew into another. Full coverage car insurance averaged more than $2,000 a year nationally in several 2025 estimates. Some estimates put it closer to $2,600. For a 2-car household, that is not a background cost. It is a second payment system. And it does not disappear when you drive less. If the car is financed, full coverage is usually not optional. So the same car stays in the driveway. The same driver holds the same keys. But the bill changes anyway. Marcus and Elena do not own 2 cars because they are trying to look rich. They own 2 cars because their day has 2 routes. One commute goes east, one commute goes west. One parent handles daycare. The other has to be at work before pickup is possible. There is no train that solves this, no bus that matches the schedule, no simple way to remove one vehicle without threatening one income. So the second car becomes part of the household's earning system. 2 incomes often require 2 cars. Then the 2 cars require both incomes. This is the loop. The household needs the cars to earn the income that the cars are consuming. This is why transportation behaves like a second rent. Not because every car costs as much as a house, but because the structure is similar. It is recurring. It is mandatory. It is hard to reduce quickly, and it sits near the top of the household budget. In 2024, The average American household spent more than $13,000 a year on transportation, about 17% of total spending. Housing took about a third. Together, housing and transportation consumed just over half of household spending. Before food, before healthcare, before childcare, before debt, before savings. The household does not just pay for shelter. It pays for the ability to reach everything outside the shelter: work, school, groceries, doctors, childcare. The car is not just transportation anymore. It is a fixed-cost system. At the end of the month, Marcus and Elena's budget still appears close. Not comfortable, but close. After housing, after transportation, after childcare, after groceries, after utilities, there is about $80 left. Then the car makes a sound. Not a dramatic accident, not a total loss, just a normal repair. $1,200. The repair bill does not create the fragility. It reveals it. Because the budget was already balanced on the assumption that nothing would break. No tire, no battery, no transmission, no air conditioning compressor, no sensor hidden behind a bumper. And when the repair arrives, it does not arrive as a car expense. It arrives as a household crisis. The payment was already fixed. The insurance was already due. The commute still has to happen tomorrow. And the car still has to start. This is not about blaming Marcus and Elena. They did not buy exotic cars. They did not build a life around luxury. They bought reliability. They bought commuting. They bought daycare drop-off. They bought a way to keep two jobs in a place where two jobs require two vehicles. That is the quiet change. The car did not just get more expensive. It became infrastructure, privately financed, individually insured, repeatedly repaired, and necessary before the paycheck can even be earned. So when the car payment becomes the second rent, the problem is not just the payment. It is the system around it. The fixed costs, the distance, the insurance, the repair risk, the debt that follows a depreciating machine. A normal household can do almost everything right and still be fragile when mobility itself becomes mandatory debt. The second rent is not always a house. Sometimes it is the price of getting to work.